Somewhere in the eastern Pacific, a covert fleet moves multi-ton cocaine shipments just beneath the waterline. Each vessel, hand-built in Colombian jungle clearings, without blueprints or shipyards, carries up to $400 million in cargo. For 3 decades, the Sinaloa Cartel operated a shadow navy the United States couldn't find. What finally broke that silence open reveals just how far the arms race at sea has already gone. Across the eastern Pacific, a clandestine maritime network has operated with the discipline and scale of a naval logistics command. The Sinaloa Cartel's fleet consists of purpose-built semi-submersibles, fully submersible narco-subs, and high-speed support boats designed to move multi-ton cocaine shipments over thousands of miles. These vessels are engineered for low observability, running with only a sliver of the hull above water, or, in the case of the most advanced craft, remaining nearly invisible beneath the surface. The operational corridor stretches from concealed Colombian river mouths to remote Mexican and Central American coastlines, exploiting gaps in international maritime surveillance. Each vessel is constructed to minimize radar, infrared, and visual signatures, often using fiberglass hulls and muffled diesel engines. The fleet moves in coordinated waves, with support boats providing mid-ocean refueling and acting as scouts for patrol activity. Unlike isolated smuggling attempts, this system functions as a repeatable supply chain, cycling vessels, crews, and cargo in a continuous flow. The most common low-profile vessels carry between 2 and 10 tons of cocaine, with a single successful run valued at up to $400 million. Despite the vast patrol area covered by the United States and Allied forces, the majority of these craft evade detection, making the cartel's shadow navy one of the most resilient and elusive trafficking operations in the world. In 1992, Colombian naval records documented the first modified speedboats and semi-submersibles built for drug transport. These early craft, constructed from fiberglass, prioritized concealment over speed, often carrying just over a ton of cocaine. The following year, authorities seized a rudimentary semi-submersible off Providencia Island, revealing a basic hull design and limited underwater capability. These vessels were crude but effective, exploiting gaps in maritime patrol coverage by hugging river mouths and coastal shallows. By the mid-2000s, traffickers introduced purpose-built low-profile vessels. These hulls rode just below the waterline, drastically reducing radar detection. Construction methods remained improvised, hand-welded fiberglass, no formal shipyard, and no professional naval architects. The 2006 seizure of a 15-meter semi-submersible, codenamed Bigfoot, carrying 2.7 tons of cocaine, prompted a legislative response in the United States. The Drug Trafficking Vessel Interdiction Act of 2008 specifically targeted unflagged, stateless subs. Technical escalation continued. In 2010, Ecuadorian authorities discovered a true, fully submersible craft capable of diving to 20 meters and transporting up to 10 tons of cocaine. This vessel featured diesel-electric propulsion, sealed cabins, and air filtration systems, hallmarks of professional submarine engineering. By 2023, Colombian police seized a 30-meter submarine with an 8-ton payload capacity and a construction cost exceeding $2 million. Each design iteration reflected a direct response to improved US and Allied detection capabilities. The result is a continuous arms race as patrols and sensors advance. So do the engineering solutions, pushing the cartel's navy from crude surface runners to ocean-crossing submersibles with endurance measured in weeks, not days. Hidden deep within Colombia's Pacific rainforest, the cartel's shipyards operate far from any formal maritime infrastructure. No blueprints, no official supply chains, just clearings carved out of jungle, shielded by thick canopy and armed patrols. Construction is a compartmentalized process. Former Navy mechanics, local welders, and laborers are recruited or coerced, each assigned a narrow task. Workers rarely see the full design or know the intended route. Their skills are practical, laying fiberglass, welding steel, wiring batteries, fitting engines. Cash payments and threats enforce discipline and silence. Every vessel begins as raw fiberglass and resin, trucked in under false bills of lading, often disguised as agricultural supplies. Diesel engines, sometimes salvaged from fishing boats, sometimes imported illegally, arrive through front companies posing as marine services firms. Chinese-made batteries and commercial GPS units are sourced through shell importers buried among legitimate shipments. Each component is staged in hidden caches before assembly begins. A typical semi-submersible takes 4 to 6 months to complete. Costs vary. A basic low-profile vessel might run $150,000. A fully submersible, ocean-crossing craft can exceed $2 million. The workshop itself is temporary. Workbenches, resin drums, and hull molds can be abandoned or torched at the first sign of detection. Launch points are selected for proximity to river mouths, allowing vessels to slip into the Pacific under cover of darkness. The entire process is designed for concealment and redundancy. If one site is compromised, another can begin work with a new crew and fresh materials. The result is a logistics chain that turns isolated clearings into nodes of a transnational smuggling system long before a single vessel ever meets the water. The US Coast Guard's pursuit of narco-submarines is governed by a strict legal mandate. Under Title 14 of the US Code, Coast Guard units are authorized to conduct law enforcement boardings on the high seas, a power that distinguishes these operations from standard military engagements. Every interdiction unfolds within a layered system: detection, classification, vectoring, boarding, and seizure. Tactical law enforcement teams, known as TACLETs, and their law enforcement detachment units, or LEDETs, form the backbone of boarding operations. These teams deploy from Navy and Coast Guard cutters, trained for close quarters action and rapid vessel seizure under international law. Detection remains the most challenging phase. The cartel's vessels ride low in the water, minimizing radar and infrared signatures. To counter this, the Coast Guard relies on a suite of sensors: maritime surveillance radars, infrared cameras, and passive acoustic arrays. Heatron, the Helicopter Interdiction Tactical Squadron, provides aerial support with MH-65 helicopters armed for precision disabling of suspect craft. These helicopters can spot the faint heat plume from a diesel exhaust or track a vessel's minimal wake across open water, then vector surface assets for interception. Coordination is managed through Joint Interagency Task Force South, or JIATF South, which aggregates intelligence from US agencies and regional partners. Operation Martillo, launched in 2012, serves as the operational framework, bringing together cutters, aircraft, and allied navies. The area of operations stretches over thousands of square miles, with shifting routes and decoy runs designed to exhaust patrol resources. Despite advanced tools and disciplined crews, the challenge is constant: a moving target, engineered for stealth, operating within a vast and dynamic maritime environment. A single narco submarine voyage can carry between 2 and 10 tons of cocaine, translating to a wholesale value of $200 million to $400 million per run. This scale of profit means that even if most vessels are lost at sea or seized, a handful of successful deliveries can offset the entire fleet's construction and operating costs. The Sinaloa Cartel treats each vessel as an expendable asset. Loss rates of up to 90% are not enough to undermine the business model. The economics are driven by volume and persistence, not by the survival of individual craft. Profits from each successful shipment are layered through a network of shell companies, offshore banks, and front businesses, logistics firms, real estate, agricultural exporters, making direct tracing difficult and insulating the core operation from law enforcement asset seizures. Pacific routes are chosen for their length and complexity, spreading risk across multiple handoff points in Mexico and Central America. By the time a shipment reaches its final destination, the original cargo has passed through a chain of intermediaries and laundering channels, each designed to reduce exposure and maximize returns despite heavy interdiction pressure. June 18, 2019, the US CGC Monroe intercepted a semi-submersible. In the Eastern Pacific, executing a rapid boarding under threat of immediate scuttling. The boarding team had less than 2 minutes to secure the hatch before the crew could open ballast valves and flood the vessel. Inside, they discovered 17,000 pounds, 7,700 kilograms of cocaine, and a small exhausted crew. Forensic recovery of the hull revealed concealed engineering, hand-laid fiberglass, reinforced bulkheads, and a manually operated ballast system designed for quick sinking. Navigation consoles included consumer GPS units, while the engine, traced to a clandestine Colombian workshop, was shielded for low infrared signature. The seizure provided direct, physical proof of the cartel's maritime logistics, organized, durable, and built for repeat operations, not one-off runs. In the years that followed, United States and Colombian authorities documented the arrival of unmanned, Starlink-enabled craft, signaling an escalation to autonomous trafficking platforms. The threat remains unresolved, evolving beyond the reach of conventional boarding tactics. Today, cartel submersibles still slip past multi-billion-dollar surveillance networks. Each new vessel signals an escalation. Criminal engineering outpaces conventional enforcement. The Pacific remains a contested corridor, not a secured border. Maritime dominance now belongs to whomever adapts faster. The next move is already underway. Share your thoughts below.